Alright, let's go.
Where does it hurt?
Okay, so first things first, you just saw that the Ashe died to a Widow, right? So you can res this, but you need to be way more conservative about how you res this, right? So if you look at this Widow sight lines, she can see you. And if she was better, she would kill you, right? So if that's the case, then start the res from here, where you're more covered. Like if you have to walk out, like peek a bit to do it, so be it. But then as soon as you start the res, start backing out and try to get like behind this as much of yourself behind this corner as you can. You can actually move a bit during the res, and if you're like, there are like a lot of mercies, for example, that have like a DPI switch bound that's super high sensitivity, so that way they'll start the res and just start spinning around, right? It makes their head hitbox a lot harder to hit. But in this case right here, you can get by with just like starting the res from further back, and more closer to the corner, and then back up a little bit, and that should be enough to keep you safe during this res. But yeah, you should die during this res. You might not.
Let's
Yeah,
get you
she's
back in the fight.
but you should have died. So this is kind of low value. Normally you do want to pocket the person that's playing this high ground, but your team has a Junkrat and an Ashe, and they have a Widow, which means that if you take a fight on this high ground against their high ground, you're gonna lose, right? So this Junk is just spamming from here, and he's not doing anything, right? So you want to like drop from here, again covered, not in front, but where the Widow might see you. You drop from here. You take a look to see where the Widow is. You see she's not peeking, and then you try to get to your Ashe, because your Ashe is taking a more aggressive position because she understands she can't take a fight with Widow at that range, right? So you want to help your Ashe out because she's the one doing something. So yeah, she's also just a better overall pocket. I know you feel safe here, but you're not doing anything. So you opt to go around the side. This is also okay. It's not as much of a pocket strat. Generally, you pick Mercy to pocket, but I do understand this way is not bad either because it does get you to like help your team at the very least in some capacity, like safely without dying to Widow.
The objective is now.
Although, oh, lag. Alright, you should be backing out a lot earlier. When you hear the monkey jump and you don't know where he is. Oh my god, this sound. Alright, so if you see the monkey jump and you don't know where he is, and the ball is like doing his own thing, like following the ball is like going to get you killed. So don't try to commit to helping the ball, right? The ball will be fine, he's a ball. If he dies, that's kind of on him. And if you don't know the monkey is jumping, you need to get the heck back, because probably he's jumping you. If you don't know where he's jumping, he's probably jumping you. Oh, frick.
Ich kümmere mich um dich.
So you know the Widow is around this area because you heard her shooting. So if you're going to jump here, use this as cover. This will keep you safe from everything on this side of the map, right? So just use this as cover. Listen for where she is, and then like if you're going to like commit to going this way, corner peek it, right? So I don't know if you play other shooters, but it's called like shoulder peeking, where you just like tap it this way, both for vision and to see if you can bait a shot, right? Because if you peek it like this and you immediately jump back, like you just like walk and then back, and she shoots, now she has to scope again, right? And that's when you can dash across and like land here and do it safely, right? But really respect Widow sightlines. Be really careful dying to Widow. Good Widows won't miss.
Your support has arrived.
Yeah. So again, play walls. Walls will keep you safe. You don't need to see the enemy team as an honor, as a mercy, right? You just straight up don't need to see them, right? So if you play here, you don't see anyone, and you can't get shot, and it's great, right? And you can still help everybody you're helping, right? From here you can heal everybody except for the ball, and if you walk a bit closer to the corner, you can heal the ball, right? But this way you can't get shot at. Whereas if you're here, the Widow, all the Widow has to do is like aim at you, right? If you look, she can see you, right? So respect enemy sightlines. You don't have to see any of the enemy team as mercy. The less you see them, the better. The only time you should ever be trying to look for the enemy is when you're in Valk and you're trying to frag the enemy Widow, or if you need to know where they're coming from, right? They're flankers that like don't have range, right? So if they're playing like Genji and Tracer, for example, as opposed to this Widow, then you can play like wider angles away from corners, so you can see where they're coming from, right? So like you need to know, for example, the Tracer's coming this way, so you'd play like here and just look for her, right? But because there's a Widow, you don't want to even peek. You just want to play safe, right? So you got zapped by the monkey, and you need to know what the monkey's doing. Like, as Mercy, you don't need to look at teammates to heal him either, right? You don't need to look at anyone really, right? So if you're playing Mercy and you're healing your diva, right? you're already applying the beam. You don't need to do anything, right? You just can you can, as soon as you attach that beam, you have 3 seconds to look literally anywhere you want and move any which way you want, right? So if you get zapped by the monkey, just turn to look at him and see if he's trying to focus you, because there's a big difference between a monkey that's shooting you and a monkey that like zapped you a little bit incidentally and no longer cares about you, right? Because if he's not zapping you, he might be zapping someone else on your team who's about to die. Because normally, as Mercy dies first. So if in a situation where he isn't going for you, one of your teammates might also die. So that's the case. Like you need to make sure to turn to look to see if he is trying to kill someone and to see if you can save them. Because generally speaking, monkey has a really hard time killing through a Mercy beam, right? So you just want to put the Mercy beam on someone who is in trouble with a monkey, right? Obviously, this monkey is not doing anything right now. But for example, generally speaking, supports are supposed to peel for supports. So other people can also peel, but like your first and foremost priority as a healer is your other healer. Make sure they don't die, right? So if this guy's in trouble, maybe your Moira's dying and you don't know. So just turn around, make sure everything's fine, then turn back.
Activating shield.
I didn't see what caused you to make this decision. Maybe it was the monkey zapping you. And again, this is why it's important to look to see if the monkey's actually going to like keep zapping you. But you're 100% going. You 100% should die here. I don't know if you actually will, but if you look, you're in the middle of the entire enemy team. So bad. Okay. So if you make a mistake of going into the whole enemy team, but you're not getting focused, just turn around and fly away as soon as you get the chance. You're panicking really hard, I can tell, and like you're like flying, and you flew back into the diva again. So like if you look at this, so you fly into the diva first, and you panic. And now you're in the middle of the whole enemy team. This is really bad, right? You walk towards your diva, which is the direction they're all looking because they're shooting at the diva, right? So if now it's like if they're trying to shoot the diva, they might accidentally hit you, which is something you don't want. On support, you want to make it so that like if they ever shoot you, it's completely intentional. They spend a lot of time doing it, right? Yeah. So now they might accidentally shoot you, and then second, when you get to here, and you panic, you can't find someone to fly to, so you just start flying at your diva that everybody is shooting at again, right? This is not going to get you to safety, right? Okay, so you definitely panicked there, or tunneled at least. So up to this point, so you panic a bit, and there's a Genji in your face, and so you're gonna pull up the pistol and try to shoot him, and you're just gonna not notice this diva bomb. Yeah, that's a much bigger priority. For obvious reasons. So yeah, especially listen to audio cues. When you hear people shouting and it's like voice lines, like look for the ults. You need to know where they are. You can't die. You should do your best to like take a long time to die as support. So I'll cover like maybe 1 or 2 more fights. That's all I'm gonna say. When I give you this, when you're done watching this, send me any Mercy tech you know, because Mercy has like a lot of very specific techs. I'm not really sure entirely which ones you know or don't know. Just try if you don't know any before and I haven't like gone back to you yet. Just go into the training range and just mess around with like shifting towards things and trying different spacebar timings, and you'll be surprised at like what you can do with it, because you can go like you can do what's called slingshotting, where you can go past the target. And you can also slingshot past the target and change directions on the slingshot, so you can go like 90 degrees to the right or left of the person you're slingshotting to. It just makes you a lot harder to catch in general. Yeah, we can talk about more later, but that's like mandatory tech for Mercy. Like every Mercy should know that.
Healing stream engaged.
I need to recharge. I'm under attack.
I'm taking care.
Relatively good spacing overall. Ooh, okay, so remember, you don't need to walk out to do anything, right? You can do the same thing from here. You know where the whole enemy team is. You don't even need to click vision, right? It's way better to be here and keep an eye out on like a Genji above you, or like a Tracer on your right, or someone coming out behind you, right? So you don't need to see the enemy team. You know where the enemy team is, what they're doing, and you know what the heroes they have. Don't risk walking into the line of sight for no reason, right? But stand here, heal your team, and just make sure you're not going to get flanked, right? This is a pretty good time to Valk, by the way. When things are getting really chaotic, you can just Valk here, heal anyone who's getting like focused, and if no one's being focused, you can actually just straight up go and kill the Widow by yourself, because it's really hard to kill a Valkyrie Mercy, and Valkyrie Mercy like has no reload, so you can just like you can pretty reliably kill Widows if you're close to them when you Valk. Another thing you can do is if you're far away when you Valk, you can slingshot with Guardian Angel off a teammate and fly it right at the Widow, right? So like if you're Valking, you can like shift to this guy, and as you get to this guy, you hit spacebar, and you'll zoom right into this Widow's face, and you can just like unload like a couple shots in her, and you'll probably like 2-tap her. Yeah, Valk is not a super important ult. Feel free to use it whenever. I feel like you're like determined to hold on to this. Like as soon as the fight breaks down, just use your Valk. Don't worry about it, right? When the monkey jumps in and you're out of position and things are getting messy, just Valk, get back and start flying around. You just saw your critical. Your tank, your your tank is gonna be fine. He's a ball. He has a lot of health, right? He has a lot of like things that you can do. He has the mobility to grab health packs, right? This guy is dying. You saw him in the corner of your eye. Just make sure you help him, right? Any point. Okay, maybe not anymore. Careful, Widow. Oh, okay. You just saw where the Widow was, because you just saw your diva die to it, or lose her mech to it. So if that's the case, play here, right? You do all the same things, right? You have the beam connected to the diva, right? You can do that from here, right? You can be safe. If you do want to fly through, right? If you do want to get from here to here, or somewhere like where you're covered, right? Make sure you do that by Guardian Angeling. Like fly over to a teammate and like slingshot slightly past them so you land here. Don't walk across, because good Widows will kill you.
No fair!
This.
Just stop walking into the middle of the point. So as Mercy, because you can fly towards and past teammates, you never want to be in the middle of everybody. Because when you're in the middle, it's actually really hard to like fly very far, right? So what you want to do is if you're here, again, like if someone shows up to attack you, you then fly past your teammates, like away from them and land here. And now the guy has to spend even more cooldowns to get to you, right? And then what you do is you fly past him, and then like, or you fly past, you use your teammates as like a slingshot to again like fly past him, and now you have to come all the way back. So you want to play like the sides of the fight, right? You never want to play like in the middle of the fight, because when you're in the middle of the fight, you have less options to actually fly to, right? Because when people are too close to you, Guardian Angel gets kind of buggy. It's kind of hard to like fly very far, because you just can't build much momentum, right? And you just can't start from further away, right? So you want to play like max beam range, and you want to play like the sides of the fight. You never want to be in the middle. Yeah, so that's all I really wanted to talk about. I think it's probably going to be more of the same. So in your practice for the next, your individual practice for the next week or two, just really focus on, if you're on, for Mercy anyways, really focus on maintaining, I didn't really talk about like maintaining spacing here, because it didn't come up very much, but spacing is pretty important. Play cover, like respect enemy DPS, especially snipers. Cover is really important. It'll keep you alive, and play the sides of the fight so you can't get gone on very easily. Yeah. Also use Valk. It's a good ult. It's not crazy, but it's a strong tempo ult, and then go use it to kill people, because it's also really good for that. Yeah, that's all. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, that's all.